There's only one place, right here in SoCal. Dodger fan, let me ask you the same question that I asked you 48 hours ago. How you living right now? Because I know how you were living last night. I already know the answer to that. You were showing up for a funeral. Do not tell me you weren't. You were expecting Atlanta to close it out last night. You were hitting this series with the equivalent of taillights in the background of Kirk Gibson's home run. I know you were. I saw the ticket prices on the secondary market. Instead of showing up in the third inning, you were showing up in the fifth inning. Instead of leaving in the seventh inning, you were leaving in the sixth inning. You could practically walk into the stadium last night. And I understand why you felt that way. I understand, aside from being the front runners that we are, I understand why you were bailing on the series. Man, it did not look good. Atlanta had just punked you in Game 4. They were up 3-1. They had their ace on the bump, and LA was going with a bullpen game. And given how terribly the Dodgers have hit all postseason long, of course you were chucking it in. You were already shifting mentally over to the Lakers and the Rams and the Chargers. However, there was one thing you did not factor in. You did not count on Chris Taylor. Chris Armand Taylor Jr., a.k.a. CT3, a.k.a. the season saver. The guy you all want to talk about. And I'll talk about him, just not for the reasons you want me to talk about him. I'm going to talk about this guy because he's a stud. He's clutch as hell. This guy really is Mr. October. This guy really is the straw that stirs the drink. I really half expected this guy, if he didn't have the personality that he has. Nothing against his personality. He's just not wired for it. But if he were anything like Reggie Jackson, he would have been up there saying things like Reggie Jackson used to say. Like, sometimes I don't even understand the magnitude of me. Like, Reggie would say things like that and mean it, and it was awesome. I am the straw that stirs the drink. Sometimes I don't even understand the magnitude of me. That's Taylor, man. This is a guy who had been playing left field and center field in the postseason. Then he moves over to third base and he hits 3 bombs. Like, because why the hell not? The guy who had 3 home runs in August and September combined had 3 in his first 4 at-bats last night. So let me hit you with a trio of names you probably thought you'd never hear in succession. Babe Ruth, Reggie Jackson, Chris Taylor. And I'm here to tell you, this dude may have been more clutch than the Fat Bambino, than Mr. October. Because while he's not the first guy to have 3 home runs in a postseason game, he is the first guy to have 3 in an elimination game. Let's be clear. If you hit Dodger fan with truth serum, last night was not an elimination game. It was a mere formality. As Dodger fan, they were already eliminated. It was about saying goodbye. That's what it was. It was about saying goodbye to some great Dodger players. It was about possibly the end of a great Dodger era. Because let's be real, LA was done. They were dead on arrival, especially after they started that game by giving up a 2-run bomb to Freddie Freeman, and Joe Kelly left the game with an injury. At that point, you're down 2-0 in a bullpen game, and you're having your first pitcher not even make it out of the first inning. At that point, how are you not thinking, nerds, 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 nerds? Nerds, 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 nerds. That was the worst thing that could have happened. The worst way to start that day. The worst way to start that game. And the nerds were getting annihilated. That was such an enormous moment. Such an enormous win. Such an enormous night. And not for Dodger Jim, because Dodger Jim does not exist. Certainly for Dodger Jano. Now, the funny thing about Dodger Jano does not know that she exists. Dodger Jim does not exist. Dodger Jano does exist, but doesn't know she exists. She doesn't know you're all up in my mentions about her. She doesn't even know that it's a thing. I haven't told her yet. And Dodger Jano is not spending a lot of time bumping around Twitter. But But let me tell you how big last night was. So big that I digress. You know, sometimes I say to you, for the right thing, I'll crack this format wide open. I'll bust open the format. I'll do something I would never ordinarily do. Now is one of those times. I'm just going with it. So, I've got these thoughts that I want to get to you about the Dodgers, and I'm on a roll, and I'm feeling it, but then I look over at my call screen. And because last night was a transcendent moment, you know how you never jack with the open. Don't jack with the Rome open. Every day, I have an open. I'm going to hit you hard right off the top. However, given the magnitude of that victory last night, I think I'll interrupt the open, and I think I'll take a telephone call. And do you know why that is? I would only do it for one reason. Because it's going to make it better. I always say that. I'll take your telephone call if you can make it better. This guy can make it better. What this guy has to say about what happened last night is probably better than what I have to say about what happened last night. So I'm going to break this format wide open on a Friday. I interrupt these thoughts and my flow on the Dodgers to go to the phones. Let's go to L.A. Matt in L.A. Dodger Matt, what's up, brother?
Roll me. You know what's up, baby. We're about to go to Atlanta, take care of business. Man, the offense finally woke up. I was at Chavez Ravine last night. It was electric. There wasn't no Dutch boy Bob Horner coming out there. There wasn't no Dale Murphy or Bob Walk, original Rat Fam member. No, it was CT3, newest member of the Rat Fam, coming in handling business for the Dodgers, for Dodger Jim, for Matt in LA, for Silk Bra, for all of us, man. Hey, and this ain't over. It's like the amazing Mets from '69. You gotta believe. And that's what I'm telling you, Jungle family. All of you guys, you could hate me, you could love me, but it's on, and I will be calling with a World Series call on Monday. War Irate Craig panhandling at Dodger Stadium. Outro.
Rack him. Let me talk to you about this guy for a minute. Not only did I bust open the format for this guy, anybody who knows anything about this show knows that there's no way I'm taking a telephone call in the opening segment. And if I ever did, there is no way that person would be ready. There's no way Matt in LA for 1 second thought that I was going to bust open the opening segment to get to him. Matt in LA in the back of his mind might have even been thinking, Rome's not even going to take my phone call today. He'll put me out here 3 hours. So I do the unthinkable. I bust open the middle of the opening segment and I go to this guy and he doesn't blink. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't hesitate. Right on cue. Bam! So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rack that call. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to give that guy a golden ticket. Dodger Matt. Getting on the air.
Ouch.
Getting racked. Getting a golden ticket. There you go. It's not a matter of getting ready. You stay ready. Like Dodger Matt. 1-800-636-8686. He didn't panic. He didn't drop the phone. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He didn't hesitate. At go time, he went, man. It's like Chris Taylor. Like I'm no analytics nerd. Good job, Matt. Well done. Care how pissed you all are. My show. My stack of golden tickets. That guy came in. Ready to roll. I don't know. Again, I'm not an analytics nerd. Not where I live, not what I do. But it sure feels like every single time Chris Taylor gets up there, when it matters most on the biggest stage, he comes through. It seems like this guy, every time he gets up in October, comes up with a really clutch hit. He's had 8 hits, or he had 8 hits in the final 5 weeks of the regular season. Listen to me on this. 8 hits in the final 5 weeks of the regular season, but 9 hits in this series. Every time they need something, that's the guy who's up. Check this dude. Just wants to have a beer. Just wants to have a beer with the boys and watch some surfing. That's what that dude lives for. Hitting 3 home runs in a postseason game. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Oh, you got something on tap? Can we turn on the U.S. Open of surfing? I mean, let's be real. Nothing about that made sense last night. Max Fried had not lost a game since July. His ERA over the past 3 months was less than $1.50. The Dodgers worked him and then shut down Atlanta's bats with a bullpen game. Nothing about last night made sense. Yet here we are. Here the bleep we are.